Right, so for today's video, we have some restaurant drama. More specifically, a TikToker who recently called out a restaurant, left a bit of a bad review on a video, and now that TikToker's receiving quite a bit of backlash. We also have a response directly from the restaurant a little bit later, but let's start from the beginning. Now, in fact, before we do get into that, quick disclaimer. I couldn't get my microphone to connect to my computer for some reason today, so I'm using like a clip-on mic. Hopefully it sounds okay, but just wanted to clarify the reasons behind that. Right, so the main person to be aware of in this situation is Renee Baron Drecht. I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong. But Renee is an Australian TikToker with about 100,000 followers. Now, the restaurant that Renee has recently called out is this restaurant right here called Lemongrass Thai Main Beach. I have to blur the address in the video, even though it's like a business address. I'm sure they probably want people to know what the address is. It's on their social media, but a video got taken down the other day when I included a business address, so I guess I can't show that. But yeah, it's a Thai restaurant in Queensland, and Renee recently went and didn't have the best opinions on the restaurant. Now, Renee starts the first video, and she is clearly upset, and she talks about how she went to this restaurant, and she first of all mentions that they didn't have a high chair.
Now, I'm really sorry for a sloppy TikTok, because I see people crying, I'm like, put your fucking phone down. But if this makes someone think for just a tiny second, I'm going to post it. We just went to an Asian restaurant that was on, I don't know, it had good stars, good ratings. So we're like, yep, we'll go there for dinner. I've got a busy toddler, yes. Firstly, they had no high chair.
And then Renee goes on to talk about how her child left the table, obviously got off the chair, went to say hello to like another family that was sat nearby, and then started playing with this like fake plant. The staff then go over the table and say to Renee, like, could your child please sit at the table, otherwise you're gonna have to leave.
He got off the chair, he went and said hello to the people next to us. Mind you, there was literally one family there with a newborn and someone else down there very far away. He started playing with the pot plant, fake pot plant. He was not doing anything wrong. He was just minding his own business, not pulling it apart or anything. They came over to me and they said, could you please put your child in the seat? Well, if you can't sit down the whole time, I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
Renee says she responds to this by saying her child's not doing anything wrong, and once the food comes out, he will sit at the table. The staff reiterate, like, if he's not able to sit right now, then we're going to have to ask you to leave.
I said, you haven't offered us a high chair. He's not doing anything wrong. He's not harming anything. He's not doing anything wrong. He will sit and eat dinner when it comes. Sorry, if he's not going to sit there the whole time, I'm sorry, we can't serve you here. So up we got, and we left. Now we're in the hotel room.
Renee then goes on to say that maybe the people at the restaurant would have thought twice if they knew that Renee was out, like trying to do something nice with her child.
Maybe they would have thought twice if they realised that I was out all morning chasing him, trying to do something fun for him. Maybe he would have thought twice if he knew that I had been waiting for him to wake up so we could go out for dinner as a family.
And then ends the video by saying that people don't realise how something like that can be upsetting.
It's just such a reminder, you just don't know where people are at or what they're doing in that moment, and just something like that can just be really fucking upsetting.
And I mean, you can even see some text on the screen here that says, I'm not lying when I say he was laughing at me as I walked out the door. Now, the comment section is turned off, so we can't see the comments. I can tell from, like, the video response to this, it seems like not many people seem to agree with Renee, and actually we have a further response from Renee, actually multiple further responses later on, where it seems pretty apparent that people didn't agree with her. I believe also in the comment section, Renee named the restaurant specifically because in her later, like, statement, her last statement, she even says, like, she shouldn't have named the restaurant, so I'm assuming it was in the comments. Now, an example of a video that was posted in response to this of someone who clearly disagreed with the original video is actually one here from Sujia, a TikTok with 2.5 million followers. And straight away it becomes very apparent that Sujia thinks that this is a very entitled take.
Okay, so let me get this right. You go to a restaurant and this is what you said. You and your mom sit at a table with your toddler. You and your mom are having a drink. Your kid, who is like 2 or 3, gets up from the table and starts walking around the restaurant, saying hi to other tables, and goes starts and plays with a potted plant. The restaurant asks you to have them sit, you guys have this conversation, and you are asked then to leave, or you volunteer to leave. I can't remember. 3 minutes of sniffling, I couldn't take it. And you are just appalled, shaken to your core that you can't catch your breath because you can't believe people would make you leave the restaurant. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not. But I cannot stand this level of entitlement. Imagine this. I am a server at this restaurant and I'm carrying a tray filled with food, hot food, maybe even some hot coffees or tea, maybe some soup, who knows? And because you are sitting at a table with your mom, having a drink, allowing your toddler to walk around, because toddlers are real low to the ground and I'm way up here, I can't see your kid, and I trip on your child, and this tray of hot food comes crashing down on your baby. Who are you gonna blame then? I'm gonna guess it's not yourself.
And then Suchi ends the video by saying, from a liability standpoint, the restaurant needs the child to be in a seat.
The restaurant, just from a liability standpoint, has to have this kid in their seat. If you're walking from your seat and you're escorting the kid to the bathroom, fine. Or you're escorting them to the fish tank if they have one, fine. But you have admitted you're letting your kid just walk around. Why do people think that's okay? Why do I have to make this video? So crazy to me.
And if we look in the comment section of this video, we can see more people's thoughts on the situation, right? So there's a top comment here that says, Renee, your child is not my or anyone else's responsibility. He's your child, parent him, do your job. Another comment here saying, this restaurant is amazing. We go all the time. They're always so nice and go above and beyond. Lemongrass Thai restaurant in Main Beach, Gold Coast. The mum is in the wrong. There's a lot of comments saying stuff like, I just realized she's the eye patch mum. Explains a lot. I don't even know what that's talking about. But I guess people were already aware of Renee before the situation. Again, I'm not really sure what that's about. Now, since there was a lot of backlash on Renee's original video, Renee has now posted a video response to like the comments. We've had the restaurant's response, and then we've had a final statement from Renee. Now, in the first response video that Renee made, she says that she can't believe the false narrative that people have made up about the situation.
I just cannot believe how many made-up narratives there are in the comment section, and people are just like following along thinking they know what happened. This mother also experienced the same type of treatment when she went to the restaurant. I'll leave the comment and review here. Obviously not a kid-friendly. I didn't see this until after.
Right, so she also shows this review here from a few years ago that's talking about that someone booked a table and they had like their baby asleep in the pram, and when I spoke to the restaurant, she coldly told me to leave my pram outside on the street as no room for it inside. She was very rude and blunt. Now, as this video carries on, it's very clear Renee says like she still stands by her point.
I still wholeheartedly stand by what I said. We were not treated fairly in this situation. My son was at arm's reach away from me, not harming anyone. We were the furthest table away from the kitchen. There was literally 3 tables, including us, in the restaurant at the time. I have taught my boys to sit at a restaurant respectfully, to use their manners just like any other mother would, and I'm doing the same with Ziggy.
And then ends the video by saying it should be okay for a child to leave the table, get off his chair, as long as he's not damaging anything or he's in the way of the staff.
If he is to hop off the chair for a moment to engage with a family with a baby sitting next to us, that should be okay. If he was causing harm to property, if he was in the way of the kitchen, if he was in the way of staff, yes, I completely wholeheartedly can say we deserve to be asked to leave. But he did none of the above. All these narratives in the comment section are bullshit.
And now this is where we get to the restaurant's response. So they have left quite a lengthy statement on Instagram, so let's have a read through. Thank you to those that are supporting our small family business. We woke up today with many negative reviews, but also so many positive and supportive reviews. We are very overwhelmed and also grateful. I, the daughter, will speak and translate on behalf of my parents as English is not their first language. We have waited to make a statement as it has been overwhelming. Today a reporter asked our side of the story, which they did a wonderful job in releasing, but missed some points. So here's a summary of our story. Last night, a family, 2 adults and a toddler, arrived as we opened the restaurant. We were fully booked that night. However, since we just opened, we were happy to cater for them. The first thing we mentioned is that we do not have high chairs, our restaurant typically does not have toddlers dining there. We double checked to make sure the customer was okay with this. They were. We seated them near the window/entrance next to a pot plant. At this time, the customer had only ordered drinks. Whilst consuming their drinks, the child had wandered out of their seat and started to play with the plant, which was in arm's reach, yes, however it was located near the entrance of the restaurant. During this time, we started getting busy with takeaways and customers walking in and out of the restaurant. Because of the location of the child, it was a safety hazard. My father, the owner, approached the mother of the child and asked if she could please sit him in his chair as business is starting to become busy. in which she responded that she could not control her child. It was then mentioned that it's a safety hazard, as once it gets busy we serve very hot dishes that may injure the child if something were to happen. She then still responded that it's a kid and she cannot control him. Our response to this was that we won't be able to serve them until he was able to sit down. They had not yet ordered their food at this point. They then said they'll leave then, since we weren't kid-friendly. They stood up, drank their alcohol, and left without paying. So thank you for supporting us and waiting for our side of the story. There's even a follow-up comment on this post here that says, P.S. My parents could not care less about this as they are not on social media and know they were right in being safe. However, I'm a daughter who loves her parents and want them to continue having a successful business. I mean, judging from both sides of the story, there's some very clear things that were clearly true, right? Because they both said it. The child was away from the table and walking around playing with this like pot plant. The staff did ask him if the child can sit, and if not, they're going to have to leave. Them things clearly seem to be true because they both said it. Clearly, Renee has a very different opinion to the majority of people, it seems, right? Judging from the comment sections and the video responses and the restaurant's response. And then also, there's a bit extra information here about Renee drinking the alcohol and then not paying for it. Now, the most recent update is Renee has released a new statement. Now, I have had to change it slightly because the original statement was like a picture of her and a child and then like text over the top. And then obviously I blur any children that are in videos that are on this channel, but because there's text over the top, it's kind of impossible to do so because like I would have to blur in between the lines. It would be pretty difficult is what I'm trying to say. So instead what I've done is I've just copy and pasted the text and put it on a white background, but this is what the post said. I'm writing to express my deep concern about the hate and harassment I've experienced on TikTok following a post I shared regarding an incident at a restaurant. In my post, I described being refused service because I was dining with my toddler, despite him behaving appropriately. We were not offered a high chair, and the restaurant stated that they do not do high chairs. My child was within arm's reach, not causing any harm, danger around hot food or in any way of the staff, disturbance or inconvenience to anyone. In fact, other diners were happily engaging with him, but if he wasn't to be seated the whole time, we would not be served. I believe we were unfairly treated, especially since the night before we had a wonderful and welcoming experience at a different restaurant and have never had a problem with him before in public. Unfortunately, after sharing my experience, people have created false narratives that do not reflect what actually happened. I did not turn comments off because people disagreed with me. I have always welcomed respectful debates, different opinions and discussions throughout my years on social media. However, what I received was not healthy discussion. It was severe bullying, harassment, personal attacks, and complete misrepresentations of my parenting and character. What has been especially heartbreaking is that much of the harassment has come from other women. As women, we should be lifting each other up, not tearing each other down, especially when it comes to the challenges of parenting and sharing vulnerable life experiences. I believe there is so much power in women supporting women, and it saddens me to see so much cruelty inside. If you don't agree, cool. No need to be nasty. I'm not a perfect parent and I've never claimed to be, but no one deserves the level of harassment and mistreatment I have faced. This is why I made the decision to turn off the comments on that post, not because I can't handle disagreement, but because no one should have to endure the hate and bullying for simply sharing their experience. While I acknowledge it was a mistake to mention the restaurant's name, and I am truly sorry for that, I never encourage anyone to attack the business or leave negative reviews. I love this platform and what it can represent when used positively, but the amount of harassment I've received has been overwhelming. Please consider ways to better protect human beings, particularly when mass harassment is targeted at someone simply telling their story. This world can be cruel sometimes. I truly hope we can all work towards making it a kinder, more supportive place, especially for each other. So that is all the information we have at this point. I assume it's probably the end of the situation, right? I can't really see what else can really be said from either parties. They've both said their piece. It seems like the majority of people that definitely seem to be on the restaurant side. Obviously, in response to the statement we've just read from Renee, I don't believe that this should ever result in like personal attacks or just horrible insults or anything like that. If people disagree, of course, say you disagree. But yeah, people can take it too far, clearly. So yeah, it should go without saying, in any of these videos, please don't go and send hate to anyone like that is mentioned in these videos. I know the vast majority of people wouldn't, but it's worth saying. So yeah, I'm going to leave the video there. Like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below and everything that we spoke about in today's video. If you did enjoy, please do a like down below, subscribe if you are new. If you're interested in any other content that we do, me and Emily have another channel where we play games and react to like reality shows and stuff. We're currently reacting to this murder mystery show at the minute. So if you're interested in any of that, the link is always in the description. And until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, goodbye.